Hello and welcome back to Playtime with Rufus, a spiritual and metaphysical podcast unlike any other. My name is Mario and I'm so glad you've joined us again. After last episode's deep dive into the topic of intuition, today we turn to one of the great factors that define human life on Earth, time. In this episode, Rufus, who as always is channeled through my dear and incredibly gifted friend Émilie, reveals the deeper purpose and consequences of time within the Earthian experience. We explore why time was created as a framework within our physical reality and what is possible because of it. Our higher dimensional friend also explains how the soul exists beyond time and how we can leverage this awareness in our everyday lives. For example, we explore how bending time can accelerate manifestation and what it means to rewrite the past for healing. Later in the conversation, we touch on the very important law of non-interference and how understanding it can help us strengthen the collaboration with the higher density beings that are constantly watching over us, ready to help and support. Ultimately, this episode offers a profound and mind-expanding perspective on time, growth, and alignment. In it, Rufus reminds us of where our true point of power lies as incarnated souls in this playtime, and how to play more effectively. If you enjoy this podcast, please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and let us know in the comments what resonated with you. Again, thank you so much for being here. We love knowing that you're coming along with us. And now buckle up and enjoy the ride. This is episode 6 of Playtime with Rufus, where higher wisdom meets human curiosity. And now I would like to ask Rufus to integrate themselves into Émilie's body so we can speak to each other again. May I speak to Rufus again, please?
Yeah, we are arriving.
Wonderful. Let us know when you're ready to begin.
Should do the work.
Very good. Thank you for being with us here today. And please let us know if there's anything we can do to make it easier for you to come through or more comfortable for Émilie.
It's just depending on how she feels inside. Sometimes it will take us a second, and sometimes it might take us a little longer. But here we are. There's no problem for us to come.
Wonderful. I'm glad to hear it. Before we proceed with our agenda and dive back into the material, is there anything you would like to say to Émilie about her current situation, any issues that you want her to be aware of?
For her, everything is actually entangling. She is doing better and she is thriving on her new project. So we are witnessing growth that is happening for her, which is very pleasing to us. Therefore, we could congratulate Émilie and we will support her in her new journey as she is working hard to make it happen. And this time, we do recognize the efforts to manifest in a concrete manner the plan that she has in her mind. This time, actions are actually coherent with her wishes and her intellectualization of her plan. Everything is working hand to hand, side by side, and we do believe and support this choice of hers.
Wonderful. Is she correct in her assessment that the challenges she has been encountering with her bank are part of the project patience?
Yeah, Definitely. Not only to project patience, but also to help her finding ways to concretely apply what she thinks could manifest only because she is thinking of it. This is what she is used to in her realm. We are talking about her usual realm where there is no need to take action in a concrete way, and only the fact of seeing something in your mind, in your heart, imagining, conceiving something in the mind and heart is enough to manifest it. This doesn't apply in this realm, does it? Therefore, it is very neat for her to put things into motion with concrete actions. And this time she is doing it. She is not only finding solutions, but she is actually putting them into motion, trusting herself better and following her instinct, which is exactly what was expected of her. Therefore, yes, it is building her project patience, as you said, but also it is building her understanding of the intricate relation between thinking and applying, which is a very needed experience for her.
Do you have any advice or recommendations for her at this time? What would be effective in this context or a good idea in doing?
Yeah, her ideas are actually good this time. Good in the sense that they are aligned and coherent with her plan. And the fact that she is tempering herself and learning patience in the sense of not acquiring everything she wishes right now, but delaying some stuff, thinking there are other priorities before she could get to this wish. This is actually very good, in quote marks, for her, and it is allowing her growth, and therefore it is also allowing her to realign somehow, which will eventually lead her to way better situation.
That's good news,
Yes, it is.
and she'll appreciate the information immensely. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Is there anything that you would like to make me aware of at this time?
Not at the time. We believe
Or
that for now, we do not need to send you more than you will ask us for.
what do you mean with that?
We mean we will gladly answer any type of questions you may have, but we do not feel the need to give you any information that would not be required of us.
All right, I see. I don't think I have any specific questions at this time, but thank you so much for offering.
Of course.
All right. There was one more question from Emily. It's
Yeah.
of metaphysical nature.
Yes, we can hear her thinking about this question. Should we answer or do you want to formulate the question?
If it's not necessary for me to do so, please go ahead.
Yes, it is not quite necessary because the question is already loud in her mind. This is about what is called reincarnation. Are we correct?
Yes.
Well, we could be poking her by telling her that if she is asking the question, it means she already has the answer. But we can formulate it for her. Incarnations are indeed happening, what you may call simultaneously, just because, remember, at a soul level, there is absolutely no time. Therefore, the concept or the idea that you have of beginning and end, before and after, now or later, is not relevant as it doesn't exist in our realm. So you could see why speaking about past, present, or future would not apply to us and will not apply to you when you are not incarnated. There are multiple incarnations of one soul happening at what you will call the same time or simultaneously, but because those incarnations are taking place on different planes or different realms or different playtimes, they will be giving you different experiences. Remember, we were talking about that inner connection to you as oneself, one soul as bigger than just bones and flesh. Therefore, whatever you may experience in different realms, somehow you would feel it or integrate it or remember it or know it within yourself because since you are connected to yourself as a non-incarnated being, you will know all the experiences you are having as an incarnated multiple time at the same time being. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
Right. So regarding her question, that was, can we talk about reincarnations or are we talking about multiple incarnations? We would like to say that the second is more accurate because they are happening all at once, but because of the link, the experiences are recorded and transmitted automatically to the soul that will be able to feel, or as you may call it, remember when the soul is incarnated. So let's say, to use a concrete example, you as Mario, incarnated soul on this playtime that is Earthian, exists as well as Mario, well, with another name, of course, but Mario non-incarnated as well as Mario incarnated on another playtime and multiple times. Therefore, what you will live and experience on this Earthian playtime and what you may live and experience on another playtime will be automatically recorded in Mario non-incarnated memory because you will integrate the information. But since Mario non-incarnated memory is also linked internally to all the Marios, it is possible for one Mario to remember or feel or understand or believe in the thoughts, the experiences of another Mario. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes. And therefore, when we are doing some introspection and some incarnated soul in Earthian playtime, remember or revisit some memories. They are indeed memories of their soul, but not necessarily that happened prior to their existence or incarnation on earth. They just remember it. And for them, it feels like it was in the past or maybe in the future. But to be clear, it is happening all at once. Are we making sense?
Yes, you are.
Are we answering Emily's question fully?
I believe there's one aspect left, and that is our perception of before and after
Yes.
the linear time model. Could you speak about its purpose and why, for us here in this playtime, cause and effect or choice and consequence are so dominant and profound in our experience?
Yes. Because your experience was designed with it. Remember, this Earthian playtime is quite unique because of the veil, but also because of the heavily polarized in every aspect, heavily quantified and also concretized stuff. Remember, it is a cause and effect because it happens in a density, happens in a material world. It has cause and effect because you need actions to move forward in this game. And every action is the resulting of a choice and will give consequences to what's coming. Your playtime has a time, as you call it, because it was necessary in a materialistic world in order to move further. Since everything is tangible, it needed a frame, a strict frame of reference. It needed to be quantified in order to move further. Imagine if your playtime were completely without material or density or what you call pretty matter. It would be completely different. You would not need to add a time. You would not need to quantify, and you might not need cause and effect. Because if you were living in a playtime that will only happen in your mind, only you thinking or wishing or feeling in your heart about something, and this will manifest, that will be completely different. Time will not be needed, because an effect might not be needed. But because the Earthian playtime is ruled by what you call tangible stuff, solid, materialistic, even if it's actually not completely true, but it is perceived this way, then you will have the need for very strict frame. And you will have to add some conceptual, let's say, rule like cause and effect time, actions, putting stuff into motions, therefore emotions as well, because emotions is energy in motion. So you see, there is a reason for all those kind of restrictive concepts, but they are needed when a world is designed to be materialism, or how can we say that? We're going to use tangible. We are trying to find another word, but tangible would be the closest. But this world is built with senses. Remember, the human body has senses
Right.
that we need to express, integrate, and learn. Therefore, if you want to be using those senses, you have to build a world that will allow those senses to work. And therefore, you need, unfortunately, restrictive concept to maintain the player in a certain vibration, in a certain frequency that will be allowing him or her, depending on what they choose, to play and to move forward in this playtime. Player needs to recognize the materialistic world. The player needs to be familiar with it, to accept it, to understand it. Therefore, the vibration needs to somehow match the materialistic world. And in order to do that, it needs to be restricted, to be contained, because you could not have a player fully running on, let's say, the vibrational potential of the soul that is attached to the player, and really enjoy the experience in the realm of materialized or tangible or 3D, 4D matter. This will not be able to apply because the player will be running free and vibrating so high that they might not recognize nor accept nor know what to do in the material world. Do you understand? So therefore, the designer of this game needed to use restrictive rules, and time seemed like a good one. Cause and effect seemed like a good one also. And actions, if we may say, that will enter cause and effect, of course, because action can be a cause and can be an effect. But actions are really important in this world as well.
Mhm.
Because without action, without motion, without emotion, you would not be able to move forward in this game. You will not be able to evolve in this game. And therefore, you would not be able to play successfully this game at all.
I could imagine that for an entity that is playing for the first time in this playtime, it could be quite confusing or frustrating or annoying having to deal with these
Yes,
aspects.
it could be, but the magical thing, remember about the veil. When the entity enters, it enters right within this concept. It will be confusing, but the entity will not know why it's confusing. It could feel discomfort without knowing.
Mhm.
It will understand the rules because they will have integrated the rules coming in. But somehow, since it will be so unfamiliar to them, they will trigger frustration and, let's say, a not at ease sensation, because somehow they will feel like it's not resonating fully with them. And of course it is not, because it doesn't apply other than in this specific world. But coming to the veil, coming to Earthian playtime also means you fully accept the set of rules and restrictions. Therefore, the concepts are automatically integrated as you play. But if you are a first-time player, the connection to you as a non-incarnated might be strong. You might feel like it's not fully resonating with you just because you are not well rounded in this game. So you are still fresh off the boat, as we say here, and you may actually have a stronger connection, even if it's unconsciously, to your, let's say, original self. So, of course, it would definitely bring frustration, but the player would not necessarily know why it is frustrating them. Does
Mhm.
that make sense?
It does.
Yes, it's the beauty of this game.
I believe based on the explorations into Emily's soul history that we've done in the past, quote marks, we know that this is actually her first
Yeah,
time in this playtime, correct?
yes, you're correct.
So she would be fresh off the boat, so to speak.
Oh, yeah, so fresh off the boat.
Is there a way that a player who becomes aware of the, I will use the word fact or truth, that time is, let's say, an illusion of sorts here in this playtime? Is there a way to utilize this knowledge or awareness to navigate our time more effectively, especially when it comes to growth or the achievement of one's goals?
Yes, it could, and at the same time, it is possible not. Just because, let's say, if you are aware that time is an illusion, it's good for you, but you still have to play in a world designed with this illusion being active. So you may use it in order to get you, how we can say that? Patience, but it's not exactly patience. It's you may use it to your advantage, knowing that you're not restricted somehow with time, and so stuff that you are trying to manifest can be postponed and can wait, as it's not meaning that they will never manifest if you don't manifest them right now. So let's say a player that will understand the illusion of time might use it to its advantage because it might help them prioritize and it might help them being willing to postpone or delay some experience that they want to live or acquire here, knowing that they will be able to manifest them at a given point, and it's not because they don't manifest right now that they will not be manifesting. So this could be an advantage, but it can also be a big inconvenience because once you understand that time is an illusion, a player can develop a complete aversion for time and a complete rejection of time because every other players that they will be connected to will be moving forward in this game using the time. They might feel disconnected. They might feel like they don't belong anymore. They might find harder for them to keep on playing, even to be able to understand the other people, the other players around them. So knowing that time is an illusion is a good thing, quote marks, but it is to be taken very carefully because even if it's an illusion compared to where you originally live, it is factual in this playtime. So you can understand it as an illusion, but you will have to accept it as a set of given rule in order to move forward in this game. Does that make sense?
It does. So you can't escape the boundaries of time in this playtime.
You cannot really escape it. You can bend it. That would be fair. You can bend it in a sense that if you do understand it, you would not have the pressure because the pressure comes because of time. So you will not feel the pressure. You will not feel rushed. You will feel like you could actually postpone and delay without being frustrated. So you could bend time, but you could not escape it, not in this playtime because it was designed as a set of rules that imply and that applies to that playtime specifically.
Right.
One player cannot decide, oh, I'm going to play in this playtime, but I'm going to reject the rules that come with it. It doesn't work this way. Even if you understand that those rules only apply for the game.
Mhm.
Let's say if you are playing hide and seek with friends, you do understand that you're just in a game of hide and seek. You don't have to live your everyday life counting, looking for a friend behind a tree, or hiding because your friend is counting. You don't go around and play this on your everyday life. It's not a rule that applies to you. But knowing that it is just a rule in the playtime you're going to have as a game of hide and seek, you fully accept that rule and you go with it to experience the game of hide and seek fully. So you accept to be the one seeking and therefore counting so your fellows can hide and then going and search for your friends. Or you accept to be the one hiding and feel the pressure of finding a neat hidden spots that will not be discovered first. You see? So
Yes.
you accept the rules to play the game. But you do know that those rules don't apply outside of the game.
I see. Yes. Several strategies have emerged in this
Yes.
playtime regarding manifestation. For example, if one desires to manifest something, it is said that it would be very productive to imagine this manifestation already accomplished, basically pulling it from the future into the past in one's mind. Would that be also an example for bending the time we have? And is this, from your perspective, an effective strategy?
Yes, it would be part of bending because you're already reducing time to one moment, meaning you are trying to manifest something in the future. You are deciding that it already happened, but you're yourself in the present. So therefore, the goal is to actually manifest it in the present. You're already deciding that past, present, future is only one. So you're already taking in consideration that there is no time. But because you do understand that you're playing with time, you are bending this knowledge and you are trying to speed up manifestation because you are putting in the past something you want presently for your future. This is actually a good way to bend time because if you had, let's say, a piece of paper and you would fold it, as a circle on itself, you would create sort of a circular that has no beginning and no end. This is what you're doing when you're trying to manifest this way. You're moving your projection from one area of time to another, hoping that it would pop out in your present. So it is bending time. But as you see, you will not be able to escape time.
But you can confirm that this strategy would actually pull the manifestation closer to the present or faster, so to speak.
Yes, because your intention is let's say you're already acting. If you put that manifestation in the past, then in your human mind, that means it already happens, correct? Because it already happens, you should be, and we say should, you should be able to put yourself in a feeling and not having feelings, but in a feeling of having this happened. Therefore, you would change your vibration because, let's say, if it's something that brings you joy, then knowing that, or let's say, telling yourself it already happened will put you in such a joy that you would automatically vibrate differently. And remember, the way you're vibrating, the way you feel inside is what is triggering the life or the experience you want for yourself to happen. So, of course, putting a projection of yours in the past, tricking yourself to believe it already happened, will change your frequency, will change the way you're vibrating, and therefore will accelerate the real manifestation of it. This is actually something that you can use for everything. This is also, let's say, something when you want to change your habits. This is what you will do as well. Let's say you wake up in the morning and somebody is trying to lose weight because this is apparently a common thread in human playtime. So somebody's trying to lose weight. And instead of feeling I'm fat, I am big, I don't like my body, instead of that, they would play a trick on them and decide before they look at themselves in the mirror that today they are exactly how they want to be. They are slim, they are toned, they are super excited to see themselves in the mirror. They are happy about it, they're good within their body. This will automatically change the, let's say, chemical aspect of them because the vibrational frequency will be different. Therefore, on a cellular level, everything in their body will resonate differently. And therefore, believing something that they are trying to accomplish will make this accomplishment happen. This is actually the strength of the mental of a human player. This is where the beauty is, let's say, happening because you guys believe that you cannot change, most of you, that you cannot alter your reality, but you can completely design it if, like you suggested, are able to bend time, quote marks, but in fact, change and alter your way of vibrating and resonating. Meaning, when you do this, it's almost like you're brainwashing yourself because you make yourself believe that you are in a certain reality where your body is perfect. And until you can watch yourself in the mirror, you can believe that reality. And therefore, if you do that every day for about 21 days, because this is apparently the time it takes to reshape your human avatar, then you will be able to manifest truly what you're trying to achieve. Does that make sense to you?
It does. May I ask a question?
Yes.
You just mentioned until one looks in the mirror, and this would have been my question. It seems that the challenge with this is the power of our senses because they are very good at perceiving the present moment, and the perception would probably collide with that mental projection you just explained.
Of course it would, because remember when you said before, if you're trying to manifest something in the future, you want to put it in the past so it can already have happened for your mind. But you are experiencing a tangible world. Therefore, your senses won't lie to you. Only your brain can lie to yourself, but your senses won't. So if you place a mirror in front of you and you're trying to tell yourself, I am slim, I am toned, my body is exactly the way I want it to be, but then you ask your eyes to bring you the information of what is in this world, of course your eyes are going to tell you, well, no, you're not there yet because the mirror is showing that you're still fat, or you're still not toned, or you still have weight to lose. So, of course, your senses are built to be resonating with the tangible aspect of this world. But your mind and your heart can bend and transform that tangible aspect. So it's colliding, of course. It's a complete permanent battle, if we may say, but it's also where the work happens, because sometimes you need to accept somehow that, let's say, this is what I look like now. I may know it, but I'm going to try to bend it, and I'm not going to look at myself in the mirror because I know my senses are going to tell me some information that I don't want to accept right now. So therefore, for those 21 days, I'm going to forget about the mirror, and I'm going to live my everyday life knowing and feeling that I have a perfect body. And therefore, all my actions are going to be based on this, meaning if I'm eating, no matter what I'm eating, I'm not going to think this is going to make me fat. No, I'm going to think this is going to feed my perfect body. It's going to make me even smaller, even slimmer, even more fit, more toned. You see, if you want to really apply that manifestation and put it in the past, you know that you have a perfect body. So you know that what you're feeding yourself is made for this perfect body, and is actually helping you maintain a perfect body, because according to your suggestion, you already have a perfect body. So see, a person that would like to achieve this bending time, all they will have to do is remove something that would link them to the present. And therefore, in that example, it will be a mirror.
Right.
But they have to take actions that will match their idea. Therefore, you would not buy something that is necessarily your size. You can buy some clothes that are a size smaller. You can eat the food knowing that it's going to keep you slim. You can actually go exercise to maintain your toned body. You see, actions necessary. And because you're going to do all those actions that will be aligned with the idea that you already have a toned body, then your body will get toned, because not only you would feel and you would resonate with this idea of having a toned body and you will embody it every day, but you will also put actions to maintain it.
Right.
And those actions will be the ones that will actually get you to that toned body. You see the chain of cause and
Yeah.
effect, as you may call it.
Yes. Thank you for answering the question I was about to ask. I was wondering whether the change will actually happen on a physical, molecular level, or if rather actions will be inspired that will help create the change on a physical level.
Yes, of course. It would be so lovely to just happen on a molecular level without doing anything. But this is not how this playtime is designed. Remember, tangible word needs action. So even if the change will happen on a molecular level because you are changing your vibration, therefore you are changing your frequency, therefore you are changing how your body operates internally and physically. This is factual. Those changes will not be enough in terms of accomplishment of the desired state of being you're seeking if you do not take actions, because you are living in a tangible world that have a set of rules that require actions to move forward in your game.
Very good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Let's take this example or the concept a bit further. And
Yes.
I'm going to play what we call devil's advocate
I
here.
will love that.
It's perfectly understandable what you just explained regarding avoiding looking into the mirror, for example.
Yes.
Let's say someone is more restricted or more directly restricted. Let's say someone is able to move only very slowly because of certain physical restrictions. And that person's desire is to move more quickly, or maybe that person has pain when they're moving and they want to move without pain,
Yes.
but they can't just avoid the sensory perception like not looking into the mirror because they're feeling it, they're experiencing it all the time. How could such a person make that leap or apply the strategy?
We understand the question. You will have two answers to that. The first answer would be the first player example that is in this condition but has chosen those conditions in order to fulfill the wanted experience. This player will probably stay within those restrictions because they were needed when this player chose to come to Earthian Playtime in order for this player to fully experience what was desired. So this is one set of players that is restricted. But the other set of players that is restricted, those restriction doesn't, let's say, alter the experience or will not affect the results that they are looking for living this experience. This player will have a solution to overcome the pain, which is, unfortunately, handle it. And everything that we say for the weight loss would be working for pain. Let's say you have someone that is in chronic pain, but this was not designed to fulfill his desired experience, right? This is just something that developed because of the experiences and the choices that he or her made in this playtime, but it was not chosen. It's consequences, as you say. So this person could bend time and use it to kill the pain, if we may say, but they will have to overcome the pain in order to do so. Let's say you have someone with chronic pain, and this pain is actually not necessary for them to experience what they came to play. They will have to do exactly what you mentioned before. Project themselves already pain free, correct? Decided that this already happened and therefore that they are already pain free and able to do this fearless gymnastic that is extremely hard to do and that require a very strong mental and a very strong will to decide to mute their pain. So let's say if I'm in pain today, like physically in pain, but I decided that my pain was already resolved, then I would force myself to do little stuff that I know will be feeling excruciate pain. But because I decided I was not in pain, I would still do it. This is what happened when, if we can use as an example, some hospital called miracles. You know, when you have some people that get to the hospital and they are being told that they could never walk again, for instance, right? And a couple months later, they leave the hospital walking and nobody can explain it. Well, you could ask the person who managed to do this miracle how they did it, and they would tell you they decided they were gonna walk. They decided they are already walking. They decided that what the medical corps was telling them was not accurate. That yes, they could heal. That yes, they could be pain free and they will be pain free. And they did everything every day, taking actions going towards that idea that yes, they can walk, they will walk, and they are the one in charge, not what the medical is saying.
Right.
So you see, this is really unique to every player because it does require
a very, very strong will. And it does require the player to, unfortunately, handle the pain because the pain is there to start with. No matter if you like to put it in the past and decided that you already healed, the present, your senses, as we may talk about before, are showing you and are making you feel like the pain is there. It's just a matter of your mind deciding that you will overcome this pain, that your projection of what you want to experience will be stronger than what your senses are actually sending you as an information. Therefore, you are not accepting this as a definite set of rules for your playtime. You are deciding that your rules will be, I'm going to get out of this pain. I'm going to overcome it. I'm going to be able to walk. I don't care what people say. I know, I feel it in my entire body that I can and I will, and I'm already walking. Does that answer your question?
It does. And you said that whether this is actually possible to do is connected to whether the condition is part of the life plan, so to speak, or
Yeah.
not.
Yes, because of course you will have some conditions that are decided before the incarnation of the player because it was needed in order to experience exactly what the player wanted to experience. And if it's the case, even with a strong will, and usually this player won't have a strong will, this player will be resilient. This player will accept its condition and make the best out of it. This player will be, for example, someone who has, let's say, an impairment, like a visual impairment, or someone who is not able to see using your eyes as a senses, that will be okay with it because they find a way to live a reality that are actually pretty good, quote marks, to them and accepting that this is part of their experience here. And therefore, this player will be moving with it. Now, if you have some players that are in the same situation, let's take pain, because usually pain is a heavy one to carry. So if you have some player that is in pain and actually in this game is not enjoying being in pain, but decided prior to their incarnation on this playtime to experience pain because let's say it was something that they inflicted before and they were not understanding that, pain. Or when we say before, you understand that we simultaneously, yeah.
Yes.
So let's say they were inflicting pain, or maybe another player or another part of them, whoever was mentioning pain, they were like, well, what does pain feels like? Oh, let me experience this because I want to understand what pain is. Therefore, they would choose a set of limitation for their own avatar in this playtime. And when they will come experience this life, then they will be served with pain. It will be excruciating. It will be unpleasant. It will be horrific, however you want to call it, during their human time. But as soon as they are not anymore in this human time, they will be partying because they'll be like, hell yeah, I understand now what is pain. Never again. This is definitely not for me. I do not like the feeling, but I do understand the feeling now. And therefore, I kind of like build skills, or I grew, or I evolved because I now have one more experience into my original being. Does that make sense to you?
It does. A
Yeah.
question. What you just explained, that concept of wanting to understand something through experiencing it yourself, is this what we call karma?
That's a tricky question because you guys put a lot of stuff in karma. A lot. I would say yes for some definition. That's for sure. That could explain it. That could explain it if we are based on the definition that karma is basically the boomerang. So whatever you send out at one point, you're gonna get in order to understand what you send out in the first place. But yeah, so that could be defined as karma. Yeah.
Yes, that's what
Yeah.
I meant. Like, at least it could be seen as a karmic connection with
Yes.
experiences.
Yes.
Right. And how does one know whether they're part of the group that organize a certain condition for their life path, or it's something that they're able to change?
We're not sure someone does know for sure. Like, this is a tricky question.
Because I could imagine that there are some people out there, when they read or hear this material, they would say, I don't like my condition. I want it to be gone. But
Yeah.
then they're part of the club, so to speak, that wanted to
Deciding.
have this experience. Yes. How could that be navigated?
This is a tough one. We're gonna be honest. This is a very tough one because you would know for sure that you are part of a desired set of rules once you're out of this game. There is no certainty per se when you're still playing that game, and you could see why, correct? You could have feeling, you could have instinct, but you would not have certainty per se unless you're out of this avatar and then your original self again, and you're like, oh yeah, duh, I chose to experience this is why I got all this set of rules in this playtime. But if somebody is listening and is feeling pain, or like their condition is not what they chose for themselves, that this is not good or whatever, there is no magic wand. Unfortunately, it could go both ways. For us, we could see two directions of that. It's either the player is accepting its condition and they are therefore evolving in their life without being bitter, without being like sad or mad, or they are not basically fighting their condition. They are embracing them and accepting them, which is sometimes extremely hard to do. And we can attest and we can understand why. But unfortunately, you will have option number one. You come to term with your situation. You accept it, you take it as is, you make the best of it, and you decide to still have consciously an experience that would bring you joy instead of an experience that you will be bitching about all the way through, right? Or you can have the other player that would not be able to accept it, that would not be able to come to term with it, and that would basically spend their entire playtime feeling shitty about themselves, feeling that they've been cheated by life, feeling that they've been miserable, feeling that they are so unlucky, that it's unfair, and all the right feeling. Because I mean, we are not in their situation. We are not able to say if we were able to be the player with a higher way of handling it or the player with a shitty way of handling it, because we're not in their shoes right now. But this is also the beauty of this game. Sometimes you would like to challenge yourself and see, oh, let's say if I'm going to play the game of pain, which player would I be? Would I be able to handle it with grace, or would I be able to just, overcome it? Or would I be this player that would just be miserable its entire life without being able to find any beauty in it? Because there are always collateral beauty. There is always a silver lining. It's just the way you look at it, Let's say, for example, somebody is in pain. Let's say somebody that is depending on someone, like someone that cannot walk, right? They will experience pain, yes. They would experience restriction, yes. But if they're not a shitty human being, they will also experience love and dependability like nobody else will. So they will see the silver lining and the collateral beauty in their caregiver, in the people that will always be there to help them open the door, to carry them, to help them, watch themselves or whatever. So they will see that human aspect and that human bond, that silver lining, that collateral beauty that most of us would not experience. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Yes. So it's shitty for sure. But at the same time, if you are focusing on those collateral beauty, those hidden beauty, it could be amazing because it will allow you to get something out of people that some other player being playing in what you would call normal condition would never see and would never experience.
Thank you for catching the ball and running with it, so to
Yeah,
speak.
of course.
I'm asking these questions that may be tough or difficult, because those are the challenges I encounter in other people. And those are questions that are being asked by many out there. So it's a great opportunity to ask them.
And that's actually very understandable, because if you ask us, we are loving the high vibration, the joyful, the love, all this is amazing. If you are coming in this playtime as an avatar, as a human being, and then you're experiencing stuff that are not bringing you those feelings, then of course you're going to want to know why, because you would feel like, okay, this is low vibration. We love shitty. This is a very neat term. This is shitty vibration. This is not something that is enjoyable. It makes you feel miserable. So of course, like most of the practitioners like yourself are going to get customer that will come see them and say, hey, I feel shitty in my life about this and this and this. Can we please take it out? Can we please remove it? Or can I please at least know why I'm feeling this way? Because this is really unpleasant.
Yes.
So of course, we understand where you're coming from with that question. We wish we would have a magic wand to make the experience enjoyable for everybody, but this is not for us to choose, because remember, everybody needs to remember this. There is an other, or let's say a bigger being sharing the body they're in right now. And this bigger being their original self, might not have the same desire as their smaller being. So somehow there is a battle going, because the bigger being that does know this is an experiment, that does know this is a playtime, that does know there is a veil of forgetting, yada, yada, yada. This being had a plan to experience boom, 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 boom. The smaller being that came and that is actually thinking that this is their real life, which is for the sake of the playtime. But this being, they don't know the initial desire for the experience. All they know is the consequences and the tangible aspect that they are moving through right now. And this might be very, very unpleasant. So we see the dilemma. This game was designed to please the non-player more than the player, if we may say. Does that make sense?
It does. And it's an excellent statement.
Just any games, if you think about it, is made that way. Let's say if you play the game of actor, you need to be satisfied as a person. You're going to go and play in a movie. You're going to play the villain. You're going to play the miserable little girl that is cleaning everybody's shit in that movie. If you were only the character of that movie, you're not going to like it. Of course, you're not going to like being raped, being killed, or whatever. Nobody would like that. As an actor, you are happy to have that role because it makes you experience different aspects of different character, and it builds you a set of tools that will make you better as an actor. Correct? Yes. Same thing for everything. If you play, let's say, Monopoly, which is a game in your realm, you play Monopoly. Well, sometimes, you will buy a lot of avenue, and sometimes you will have to pay a lot of people because you land on their houses all the time and you'll lose all your money. This is not going to be cool. You're not going to like it. But at the same time, you're going to please the player that wanted to play that game because you played Monopoly. So you see, this is true for every game. Every game is to please the one that is entering the game, not necessarily the one that is the game player at the moment of the game. So if you consider Earthian Realm as a playtime, therefore as a game, for us, every incarnation is kind of a game, then the same rule apply. You are not trying to please the avatar. You're trying to please the one behind the avatar that is really using the avatar to experience.
I love this explanation. However, I could imagine that someone hearing this or reading it might feel a bit disheartened by it as an avatar.
Of course they will. If we were living a shitty avatar life and somebody will tell us, well, this life of yours was chosen by your bigger self, we would say, fuck you. Like, we would say, hell no, this is not right. This is not, no. We would not accept that, because basically it would tell us that for the time of that game, it will be those conditions until the end. And it's either we decided to make the best of it or we're going to feel shitty the entire game. So if we read that, or if somebody is telling us that, we will not be happy to accept it and take it as a truth. That's for sure, because it will trigger some feelings, and some nasty feelings, if we may say, some feelings of unfairness, some feelings of, oh, it's easy for you to say that because you're not in my shoes, because you're not living my life, because you're not suffering like I am, because you're not in pain like I am. So all of those conditions will basically be obstacles for a player to accept this reality. But at the same time, and this is something that happens quite often, when the life of the avatar is reaching the end, all of a sudden the avatar needs, because they sense they are going to transition or they're going to leave that playground, they need to believe that there is, in fact, a bigger player in them, right? So all of a sudden, this becomes more acceptable. So you see, it comes to terms at one point, just because the way the human avatar function, there is a protection in it. There is an ego protective self in the avatar that would all the time want to protect the avatar. But by protecting the avatar, this ego is basically sitting on the part of this avatar that is the actual player, right? But towards the end, because the ego is still wanting to protect the avatar, it's easier and it's more pleasant to believe that this is not the end, and to accept finally that there is a bigger player, because it becomes easier for the avatar itself to know that this is not going to be the end of it. Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
Yes. So human lives are just logical to us somehow. There is a logic into it. But yes, your readers that are in some condition or are facing life hardship, they might not like it, but there is nothing we can do about it. We believe that if everybody understands that they are players playing this playtime as an avatar, and therefore once the avatar is finished with its experience, then all the hardness, all the hardship that comes with this avatar vanish as well, and they can enjoy being a player again. If one can accept that idea, then everything all of a sudden is a little sweeter.
I see. The fact that we are here talking about this, and the plan is that this information is going to be shared with others, suggests that the rules of the game are changing, no, or have been changing in a way that the veil is lifting.
Yes and no, because if you remember, we're not sure if it was in session number 2 or 3, but if you remember, we talked about this. We said that every avatar has an inner knowing, has an inner connection to their player, right?
Right.
So therefore, every avatar at any given moment could be able to remember that they are a player playing. But also, we can spread knowledge and we can reinforce that link if we are being called upon. Remember, we cannot interfere, poking or pushing on you guys. But if at one point some of you request or ask a question, asking us a question, then this is when we come, just like now we're coming into Emily's body. So we cannot interfere, but we can answer the call, right? So we're reinforcing that insight that some of you may already have understood. And we're planting a seed in other player that may be more anchored in this playtime, telling them, hey, there is a bigger player, you're an avatar, and at one point you're going to become that player again. So yes and no, we are not changing the rules because we're respecting the non-interference. We're respecting the fact that we can only come if we're asked to. We're respecting the fact that we're answering questions and not pushing knowledge on you. And at the same time, we're just reinforcing something that was already inherent, like existing into that playtime, which is this connection that despite of the veil was always there, between the player and its avatar.
So non-contact between the physical and the non-physical aspects were never a rule.
No, the rule was not non-interference on our part.
Right.
So the same with what you call guides, spiritual guides. Let's say if you have like, your collective of consciousness that is right there with the player you, but the avatar at one point remember that there is a player you, and remember that there is a set of consciousness that can help you play the game. It's a little complicated, but hope you're following. Well, if that avatar is remembering this, then it can call upon that consciousness for help, right? And that, what you call spirit guides, they will come and they will guide you. But normally, and this is like the universal law, non-incarnated being doesn't have the right of interference if not required, if not called upon, if not asked of by an incarnated being.
Is that a rule that's specific to this playtime, or is this a rule in other playtimes as well?
We believe that this is specific to many playtimes, but not all.
Very good. There was one other application that crossed my mind. Coming back to the original topic of linear time.
Yeah.
We talked about bending time to make manifestations more efficient. How about healing? And I know we've talked about healing pain, for example, or becoming pain-free. But what I'm referring to is a concept that is, I guess, known to many players, or at least a couple of, that is possible to, for example, go back in time to past self, meaning the child version, for example, or teenage version of the adult self, and helping that past self going through a difficult experience or a traumatic event. Is that a valid strategy? And if so, could you please explain how this works?
Yes, of course, it's a valid strategy because you're trying to help the avatar. Okay, so we're going to try to explain. Basically, at the moment where you are trying to get back to that child aspect of your avatar, right? You have a set of tools that is bigger because you are able to understand that something energetically is blocking you, or that something emotionally was not digested, or that something basically had an impact on your avatar life, correct?
Right.
That means consciously you already evolved from the time that you're going to go back to, and you build some set of tools that will allow you to understand better the situation that impacted yourself as an avatar, correct? So therefore, you consciously request of you that player you, so not the avatar you, the player you, because you're connected to your higher being when you do those thingy, right? So you're requesting of the player you to take you back to that moment in time, quote marks, where you can watch yourself again, being the kids, relieve the situation, feel again the emotion, but you're doing all this with a different perspective because you're going back to a situation when now you have a set of tools that is more evolved and more elaborated than it was at the time you leave the scene, correct?
Correct.
Therefore, this is why healing is able to happen. You are basically relieving or looking back at a situation, but shifting your perception and changing perspective on how you approaching that situation. And because of that, it gives you a set of information in returns that will be completely different, that will integrate differently into your body, into your avatar self, into your knowledge, your consciousness, your emotions. And therefore, what you thought was a trauma, because you lived it as a trauma, now that you're looking at it from a different you, because you growth as an avatar and you have different tools, now you're able to see it differently. And therefore, what you thought was triggered and the consequences of this situation that you thought was true, you can relieve it and have a different true coming out of it because you would see it and you would feel it differently than before. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Therefore, this is why the healing is able to happen, because you don't leave it the same way you lived it the first time. You don't perceive it the same way. And just because you're not the same person. If you take you as a 6 years old and you take you as a 60 years old, there is 54 years happening of experiences. We surely hope that you're not the same avatar at 60 years old than you were at 6 years old. Otherwise, basically, you wasted this playtime, right? But logically, there is an evolution. Better or worse, it doesn't matter. But there is an evolution. So therefore, when you look at a scene that happened in your youth, you would not relive it the same way. Cause and effect. It's factual. So when you do session with people that are trying to heal part of them because they recognize, let's say, patterns in their life, or they recognize triggers in their life, or they recognize reaction that they have when situation comes that are like not appropriate to what's given, and they are thinking, ah shit, maybe something is not right, maybe I need to look if I did not code myself in my youth to see, to understand why I now react like this, when somebody in me consciously is telling me this is not exactly how I would like to react to the situation, then you go back. Because consciously, you already feel the healing is happening, because you already feel that there is something that is not quite right with the way you're feeling stuff, with the way of handling it, with the way you're reacting. You know consciously something is telling you that it's not in alignment with the avatar you became. And therefore, consciously, you decided that there might have been something in the past, in your past, that has coded you and forced you, even if you build other tools, to still be triggered and react like this in facing some situation. So you consciously take the step, take the action to go see a practitioner and ask, okay, can we revisit? Because I feel like there is a blockage. I feel like something is stopping me from moving forward, and I feel like it has something to do with my past. All right. You're already in the healing process doing this already. So when you're going to go back willingly and you're going to look at exactly what happened, then you will understand it from a different perspective. This is already an action towards healing. One more action towards healing. Then when you understand from the different perspective, then you're able to trigger new actions, knowing that the situation is not what you recall it to be. That now you understand it differently. Let's say you had an issue with your dad at the point, and your dad was telling you something that you felt was very harsh or whatever, and you're now a dad and you're going back to that moment and you're now reading that scene with your dad tool, and you're understanding that your dad was trying to protect you, was trying to show you love, was trying to just pass on to you some tools, but did it the wrong way. Then you can relax this situation. You build a different understanding for your dad. You build a different love for your dad. You build a different love for yourself. And therefore, you heal yourself somehow. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. May I ask a question?
Yes, you may.
Does that mean that the change actually happens in the present, or let's say for the present version, the adult self? Or is it possible to actually change the event or the coding that was integrated in the past?
You're changing all. You're
Oh,
basically rewriting the past. This is how, okay, let's say, memories, because this is a good example. Okay, you go to vacation as a kid, right? You have the worst vacation ever, but for some reason, the only thing you remember is you playing in a sand building sand castle, and you're so excited about it. All of a sudden, you only remembering that part of your vacation, right, rewrites your vacation. Because let's say it was a vacation where everybody was yelling at each other, it was raining, the car broke down, you got robbed. Like, you can add so many bad stuff that happened, right? But all you could remember from that vacation is the amazing time you had building sandcastle on the beach, and you were so excited about it, right? So now, when you're going to pass on that memory, let's say you're telling it to your cousin or your child or whatever, oh, you remember? I went to the city when I was a kid and I had the best time of my life. I remember being on the sand, building sandcastle and stuff like that. You're rewriting the past because now the memory you're carrying and the memory you're giving and you're spreading is not of a shitty vacation, is of an amazing time that has nothing to do with what experience you had, but is what you remember of it. So you're rewriting the past because now this is your factual, true past consciously. When if you were looking back at the situation factually, it would not be exactly what you're describing. Does that make sense?
Yes. But for that person, it's an authentic memory. Like
Yeah.
they have kind of forgotten the negative experiences, no?
Yeah.
Consciously.
Yeah.
Okay. So in that case, they are taking a slice and build their memory on this slice.
Yes, and you're wondering whether if you are looking at something that happened that was authentic and now you're looking at it differently, do you rewrite the story that happened then?
Yes, let's say the memory is very clear of a
Then yeah,
negative. Yeah.
then yes. Because let's say, okay, we're gonna stuck with the child and the dad part, right? The
Mhm.
child and dad part, we got this scene. Now you're healing, you're going back at it, you're looking from a different perspective, you're understanding it, right?
Yes.
What you're gonna carry with you from this moment on, you will not be able to carry it the same way you carried it when you lived it the first time
Yes.
because you relived it. You saw it from a different perspective. Therefore, you understood and digested and integrated with the new perception of it. So now when you're going to talk about it, you're not going to say, oh, shit, I had such a hard time because my dad at this time, he was violent. He screamed at me. He this and this and this and this. No, now you're going to carry it. Yeah, I felt at the time that my dad was really being rough on me and took it hard. But I realize now that he was saying all this out of love to protect me and that he was a good dad. You see? Therefore, somehow you're rewriting the past. Because let's say before and after healing, I'm coming to you. You're not healed. You're describing me that scene. All you're going to tell me is, I don't talk to my dad. He's an asshole. He freaking like was violent and yelled at me when I was a child. All I remember was him being harsh on me and not showing me love and yada, yada, yada. Okay? You go to the practitioner, or even without a practitioner, you go back to your time as an avatar with yourself. You bring your toolbox, you look at the situation, you read the situation from a different perspective. You're not back to yourself. I come to see you the next day, and you're telling me, oh, man, I realized that my dad was such a good dad because he didn't mind looking rough to me. He didn't mind yelling at me. He didn't mind me hating him just to protect me and show me love. Do you see what I mean?
Yes.
So now it's a completely new scenario of your own past, but it's coded differently in your mind. So you rewrote the past.
Right.
Does that make sense?
It does. I
Yes.
believe I understand that the change in perception or perspective of the past event is what creates the healing.
Yes.
I was wondering if there's also an option of maybe visualizing the past event going differently. Would
Yeah,
that have an effect?
it would. It would if you're able to decide that the fantasy of your past is as heavy than the factual of your past. Because when you're trying to do that, this is exactly what you're trying to do if you were going back to the past with a different perspective. Except when you go back to your past with a different perspective, you're coming from a factual, right? So you're revisiting a factual, an authentic past that really happened. When you're going to go in your mind and you're going to fantasize about the past, you're consciously changing what you know to be factual. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So it could work if you are strong enough mentally to decide that your fantasy is going to take over the factual. But from what we could see of an avatar playing on Earthian Playtime, factual usually is stronger because factual involve the senses, remember? And the senses carry information that really code heavily the avatar or the player that is, you know what we're talking about. Let's call it avatar. So the avatar. So you could. We want to say, yes, it's possible, but it's not going to be as efficient because that require the avatar to have a very strong mental and be able to overwrite factual with imagination. Compared to when you go back to a memory, reading it, revisiting it with a different set of tools, this is still in the factual. It's just your comprehension, your integration of the information that is still factual and still given to you. You're now experiencing it with different emotion, different knowledge, different understanding, different perceptions. So somehow the factual that is still there is just the same, but your interpretation of it has changed. And this is why, if you ask us, this will be more efficient for more people because it will not require you to have a strong imaginative, a strong fantasy world that will override the past. It will just take you back with your new set of tools and ask you to revisit that scene and see if you get different information. See if the factual that is still authentic resonate differently with you, feels differently. And most of the time, like we said before, you will have different reaction to it because your life as an avatar would have make you evolve. So this will be for us the best way to rewrite the past because it will be coming from a factual ground.
That makes a lot of sense. And by doing that, you kind of clear up the energetic blockage that was created at the past event that was never concluded, so to speak.
Yeah, of course you do. Of course. The kid, this is very easy because a lot of humans have that issue with parents, you know, that would trigger so many blockage in their life and they will, you know, face difficulty in interactions, social investment, and all this stuff because of relation they had to their parents. So in that situation, of course, it would just lift all the blockage, but now it might create others because we can be the devil's advocate too, as you say. You go back to that, right? You rewrite the past. You see that your dad was actually being a good dad. He just had this amount of tools that he did not know how to do other than that to protect you. And he was trying to show you love in the way he knows how to. Okay. So you understand all this. Now you don't hate your dad anymore.
Yeah.
You empathize with your dad. You feel empathy for him. You understand him better and yada, yada, yada. But now you might feel guilty. You know, it's possible that now you feel like shit because for all those years, you thought that your dad was the villain. And because now you're a dad and you're able to read the situation completely differently, going back to your past, rewriting it, you're like, oh, dang, maybe I'm the villain in the story because it took me so long to understand the factual differently. And I give shit to my dad for so many years. How I'm going to make up for it. You see?
I see.
So it can definitely leave the blockage, but it might create a new one. When somebody is trying to do healing, they need to understand that they have to be willing to accept the way they handle it as well. This is why it's needed. If you're not able to accept the way you handle it at the time, if you're not able to see, okay, at the time I was 6 years old, this is the only tools I had. So therefore I could not read the situation differently. I was not equipped. I was not fully evolved. I was not where I am now. So therefore, it's normal, and I accept that I reacted this way. If you can do that, then the blockage will jump and get out with no other blockage coming, because you're already putting, let's say, a security for the guilt not to show. Because you're telling yourself, well, I don't have to feel guilty because at the time I responded and I reacted with what I had to react to that situation. So I'm not to feel guilty because there was no other way I could have coped with it. But now that I understand, I forgive my dad for what I thought he had done wrong. I send him love. I send also love to myself as a kid for, reacting to the situation the way I could at the time. And I send love to myself now for being willing to revisit the past, for understanding it a different way, and for being okay with the consequences that up until today have taken place because of what I remembered of that situation. Knowing all this, being okay with all this, accepting all this, I now decide to start fresh, let's say, or to take actions that will trigger a new reality between me and my dad, me and myself, and therefore me and others. Do you know what are we saying?
Yes.
Okay. So healing is not just being able to look at something, rewrite it, and perceive it a different way. Healing is also being able to forgive somehow if we did not react, or if the person did not react exactly as we wanted to. And it's also decide that from this point on, because we understand and we know we can read the situation differently, we're going to make peace with it. We're going to make peace with everybody that was involved. We're going to forgive. We're not forget. We're just going to forgive. We're going to send love, and we're going to keep on moving on.
And this includes the self. Well,
Yeah. Yes. Of course, it includes the self as well.
meaning the past self and the present self.
Yes. That's why we said you need to forgive the kid, the dad. We need to accept that the kids reacted this way because that's the toolbox he had or she had, whatever. And we need to accept that we are not going to feel guilty because we didn't read differently the situation before. So for all those years, we carried an energy, we carried a relationship with this situation and the people involved that was not exactly what we understand of it right now. We're okay with that because until now, we did not take the time to go revisit it, understand it, and rewrite it, digest it, integrate it. And now we're able to go on with our new life because automatically some stuff are going to change.
Right. What comes to mind is that this process could be valuable at the end of any given day.
Yeah, of course.
Because if I take myself as an example, I know at the end of the day what choices or actions or situations that I experienced during the day may feel a bit dissonant or out of line or not the way that I would have liked to handle the situation. Would it be possible to apply this process to what happened during the day?
Absolutely. That would be amazing. If every avatar would do that, that would be amazing. But unfortunately, most of the avatar needs to really be stuck in the situation to go seek some help and try to figure out how they got here.
Right.
But if somebody is able to do it in your playtime on a daily basis, it's just like gratitude and healing on a daily basis. Of course, this will be amazing to move forward for that person. Because if you're able to assess everything that happened in your day, you're constantly evolving, right? So what you are in the morning is
Right.
not the same as what you are at night, right? So if you're able to assess your day, look at it, revisit it from a different perspective, because you have now new tools in your toolbox, and send love to yourself, to the people involved, to the situation, and decide to move on, then you're good to go. This is an amazing way of building frequency, of moving forward, of like bringing closer your alignment, like all the good stuff you want to happen. This is a good way to do it, but be mindful of it because it's also energetically draining because it requires you to relieve several events without a lapse, like a big lapse of time, that had happened. So some of them you might not have the distance necessary. So some of them you still might not be able to relieve it differently. As long as you're okay with that and you can accept that this is okay, like you feel like you're not in resonance, but you are not at the moment able to see it differently.
Mhm.
If you're okay with that, then you're good to go. If it's something that you're gonna dwell on, that you're gonna, like, I feel like this is not how I should have done it, but I'm not able to done it before like this is gonna be a counterproductive. But if you're able to tell yourself, okay, I'm gonna look at the day, no matter what happened, if I'm able to understand why I feel like it's dissonant and to correct my perception of it, I'll be okay. But if I'm not able to look at it, to read it differently, I'll be okay as well. If you can do that, then definitely it's an amazing thing to do. If you're not sure that you have the growth or the maturity to do that without like beating yourself up, if you cannot see differently, then maybe wait a little more time between the situation and your rereading of it.
Thank you for that additional
You're welcome.
remark. That I believe is a very important one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I have so many more questions, but we have to close this working for today. Émilie asked me to be complete at a certain time, and this time is almost reached now.
Okay. Well, would you remember your question or maybe write it down so you don't forget them?
Yes, I will do that and bring them next time. Thank you
Good.
so much for being with us here. I enjoyed this immensely, as always, and I hope you had a good time as well.
We always have a good time. Okay. You have to understand that we love when you guys call upon us because it's also interesting for us to see what our broadened consciousness is able to bring down using words and to able to reach your consciousness because this is sometimes quite challenging for us too. So it's a good exercises that we're able to come here, use a body, transmit something in a way that you are able to receive it, digest it, and integrate it. Because sometimes we will try to drop, you know, answers or knowledge because it was asked of us, but we are not able to do a good job at conveying what we're trying to convey in order for you to receive it the way we are trying to convey. So we'll still have the same issue as you guys have in this playtime because we are not able to use our way of communication when we come to your realm.
Well, we're glad that you come to us, that you're using this opportunity. Last time we played a little game. I gave you a little challenge that I would like to repeat again today. The topic today was time.
Yes.
I guess we can say that. Time, linear time, simultaneous time. Could you create a 1 minute message to those out there who are interested in this or ready to hear it that will be of value to someone listening to this 1 minute message? If there's something that you want us players or avatars to be more aware of, to play our game more efficiently or more joyfully, when it comes to time, what would the message be?
Okay, Mario, this is definitely a tricky one for us. We're gonna try. We're taking the challenge, but we had so many stuff to say about time. There is time not being linear. We talked about spending time. We talk about time being restrictive rules in your playtime. We talk about time not existing outside of your playtime. We talk about rewriting time. We talk about playing with time to reset your brain. We talked about so many stuff that in 1 minute, this might be challenging. Maybe we should pick one of them.
Yeah, like something that's a quick win, you know? Like when you look at us playing our game, what is the one thing regarding time that you would like us to change or be more aware of or apply to have a better playtime?
All right. We're gonna try. So, your Earthian playtime has been designed with a restrictive rule that is called time. But know that outside of your playtime, time doesn't even exist. So, when you do feel the pressure because you're in a rush, because time seems limited to you, tell yourself it's only true in your realm of existence. But you could actually alter that feeling. You could bend the time. You could buy yourself some more time by stretching it. Time is a rule, is there and cannot be changed. You cannot escape time, but you can stretch it. You can bend it and you can use it to your advantage if you're accepting the fact that even if time is an illusion, it does serve as a restrictive rule in your playtime.
Excellent.
Did
Thank
we
you
do a
so
good
much.
job?
Yes, you did.
Okay, that was very vague. We give you that. Like that was not in detail at all, and we love detail, but we hope this gonna be at least triggering some interest, so maybe they will want to know more, and you can serve them the rest.
Very good. And I assume that they can always reconnect to their own guidance to
Yeah.
receive more information.
Well, this is something that you could emphasize, Mario, because this law of non-interference is very, very strong. So sometimes we have humans that are like, oh, but I don't feel like I have my guys. I don't feel the support. I don't feel connected. And then you pop the question, you say, did you ask for it? Did you call upon us? Did you actually sum up to come and help you? No. Okay. So how the heck do you want us to come help you if you're not requiring? Because we are stuck with this law of non-interference. So maybe this is something that everybody should know. If you do want us to interfere, if you do want us to come help you, if you want your team to help you, if you want higher consciousness to come and like steer you, help you go to the right direction, or all this stuff, all the wishes that you may have, you need to request it. You need to ask us. You need to officially call upon us and say, hey, I need some help. I want whoever consciousness that is out there to come and help me, to come and drop some knowledge, to come and guide me, to come and help me answer this question, solve that problem. I need you guys to come. I'm asking you to come. I'm requesting of you to come help me, and I'm giving you the full authorization to come and interfere. Because if they don't do that, guess what? No show. And we're on our side are like this. Like, come on, call us. And we're just waiting. You see the problem?
I do.
Yeah. So it's a lose-lose in both ends because we have stuff to share. We cannot share it if you're not asking. You want help, but you're not gonna get it if you're not asking. So just ask. There's nothing shameful in it. Just ask for help from a higher consciousness. No matter who you're gonna get. It doesn't matter. Just request higher consciousness, and you could also maybe tailor it and request a vibration that is vibrating higher than yours at the moment, in your avatar body. Because this way, you're sure that you're going to get some consciousness that would broaden your spectrum. Sometimes, if you're not mentioning this, if you're just asking for some help, but you're not mentioning other vibration that is higher than mine, you might have some lower vibration that would drop some shit that would actually not be the one you're expecting because it will not broaden your spectrum. So maybe just add this. Call upon us and mention that it needs to be a consciousness of higher vibration than yours.
That's very good to know. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Closing question.
Yes.
What role does time play when it comes to you actually interfering because you were being asked? I guess we cannot expect your interference, your help, your assistance to pop in immediately.
Why not? What do you mean by that? Is the fact that we are here in Emily's body right now altering what we're doing out there? Is that the question?
No, let me rephrase. And I'm stepping into the role of devil's advocate here again.
Go for it. We like it.
Some people might say, listening to this, Well, I do that. I tell my higher self or my team to help me. I ask them for the assistance, but nothing is happening.
Nothing is happening, or they are not listening.
From their perspective, I guess they would say no results.
No result. Then maybe it's because, this is going to be a long answer. Sorry. It could be a lot of things. First option, their expectation is very limited. That means they are calling upon us, they are requesting, and they are waiting to see us pop in and have vision or hear us or something that is very loud and their mind is very set up on what their expectation of us coming would look like, right?
Bingo.
If we are not meeting that expectation, then we're going to hear them say, oh, you never showed up. And we will say, oh, we were here. You just didn't listen or you didn't see us or whatever because you were so stuck in your own ways thinking that we have to come to you only a certain way. No, this doesn't work like this. So that's the first one. The second one, maybe they're asking for a reason that is to solve an issue or whatever. But if our interference is wanted from their avatar, the player, before entering, said, when it comes to this issue or the experience, I want to figure it out by myself. So I don't want no interference because this is the main reason I came to play this game. Do you know what we're saying?
Yes.
And therefore, we will not show because it's not appropriate for us to show because this is something that you actually came to play for. And if we come and answer that question, then your game is useless because you already answered it. Does that make sense?
It does.
Yes. Another option could be that we have a frequency match issue, or you're in an area that has some interference blocking our frequency to come and match yours. Let's say you might be surrounded with a lot of magnetic field or electromagnetic or some interference that when we are trying to come and use your body or whatever, or make you a sign, show you something, we're having a hard time materializing because this is what avatar would need for us to somehow materialize, whether it's coming through talk, coming through white, to listen to their ears. We have to somehow materialize in your world because that's what you're expecting of us, like showing you a feather or whatever it is, just coming. Sometimes we're unable to do it because there are conditions in the surrounding that are preventing our frequency to come and match something that would be receivable by you. So it's not that we're not here. It's not that we're not trying to come and answer the question. Is the answer cannot be materialized. So if you're not paying attention closely to your guts, to your instinct, you would miss us. But this is unfortunately not on our part. Most of the time, when an avatar is requiring a higher consciousness to come, and this we can tell you like 90% of the case, their expectation is insane. It's almost like if they want to call another avatar and say, hey, come help me. Of course, they're going to see the avatar coming or they're going to hear him call or talk or whatever. This is obvious. You're playing in the same realm. Hello, it's not the same to us. Give us some credit, please. It takes a lot of us to come and materialize for you. So if your expectation is to have this big, loud signal, guess what? You're not going to get it all the time. You also have to do your part. Meaning if you're requesting an answer because you're asking for some help, you need to be ready to also pay attention to every little details that might change at the moment you're doing your request. For instance, you're having decision to make or whatever. And you're calling us, you say, oh, I need some help, please help me. But the next second, you're gonna put something on the TV that would get you sucked in and that would get you busy. So you could not even hear your own thought. You could not even hear your instinct talking. You could not hear nothing. So it doesn't matter if we come and answer you, guess what? You're busy somewhere else. You're not making room for us to communicate. So it's a two-way street. Right. You can tell them that. It's good to ask upon us, but if you're not willing to also put yourself in a condition that you're able to receive any given answer, then you're going to miss us. It's not that we're not coming. It's just that you're not ready to receive. Does that make sense?
It does a lot, actually.
Yeah. So first tell them, don't expect nothing. Don't expect the signal to be something you think it will be, because most of the time it won't. Okay, now this could be a good way to do it. This could be a good way. You can narrow it down. You can say, I need a higher consciousness, higher than my own vibration, to come and help me on this matter. You state, what's bothering you. Let's say, for example, you're at the crossroad. Should I take that job or no? Okay. So if you're not knowing how we will manifest, just give us a hint. Maybe say, okay, if I need to take that job today, I'm going to hear somebody knock on my door. Boom. If I don't need to take that job, then today I'm going to find a black bird close to my doorstep. Something like that. Because that way it also gives us an incentive in order for us to get the clear message to that person. Then we know we have to focus on this way of materializing or this way. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
This way, it could be easier. We're not going to say it's efficient 100%. That will be a lie. But it could be easier for us and for you to receive the signal. But what is really complicated for us is if you call upon us without telling us that you're expecting something specific, you already have expectation on how we're supposed to materialize. This is hard. Let's say you're like, oh, I'm calling upon my guide. And in your mind, you're like, I know if they're coming, I'm going to see this, or I'm going to hear this, or I'm going to feel this way. I'm going to this. Well, we don't know that. So if when we're coming, we're not granting you none of that, then you're going to complain and say we are no show when we were just right here. And we did give you the insight you needed. It's just you were so stuck on a way to receive it that you missed it. So that's issue number one. Issue number two, making space for us and being ready and willing to receive. You cannot, because you're in the middle of something, send some prayer, send some request for help, and then you're not even taking the time to receive it. Who does that? I mean, it's not going to work. It's not going to work in your avatar life. It's not going to work in our inner realm communication either. You have to make room to receive the signal, or you have to pay attention without closing the way of signaling. Does that make sense? Unless you requested clearly that the only way to signal you is this.
So either being super specific and honest about it,
Yes.
outspoken, or completely open.
Yes, pretty much. That's it. And without forgetting that sometimes if you were very specific or if you were pretty open, and actually you can be both. You can be pretty specific and very open. That way you're sure you're not missing it. But if you still don't get anything, that could be also because of what we said, the surrounding. But let's say you have a good surrounding. That could be also because it's not appropriate. Because we cannot violate the intention of a player non-incarnate. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
We need to respect the soul free will and the soul experience. We can help the avatar if it's appropriate for the soul goal. We cannot help the avatar if it's going to mess up the entire soul experience. Right?
Yeah. Thank you so much for this little detour. I hope Emily's all right with the overtime, but I feel that it was very valuable and definitely worth it.
Well, if it was, she'll be fine. Do not worry. She gets back to cook. She's testing some recipe. It's all good.
All right. Well, again, thank you so much. Let's close this session for today. And I'm looking forward already to the next time we get to talk.
Very much, Mario. We are looking forward too.
All right. We thank Rufus and all others involved in this working for the information and support they have given us today. With much love and deep gratitude, we're asking all energies and entities to recede to where they belong.